governor of South Dakota asks the federal government to approve emergency aid for a storm-ravaged town. Could riding a bike be hazardous to a man's sex life? And an astronaut may have to wait a while for his ride home. CNN Headline News. Hello, everyone. I'm Angela Astore in Atlanta. Thank you for joining us. More computer troubles are plaguing the aging space station Mir. Sunday, cosmonauts replaced a failed computer, but they have not yet been able to load needed software into the new one. John Holloman reports the problems are threatening an astronaut's ride home.
You seldom hear an astronaut admit he's worried. But this weekend, astronaut Andy Thomas, who spent the past 4.5 months on Russia's Mir space station, says he's nervous because last-minute computer problems could delay his return to Earth. Mir's main guidance computer, which keeps the space station steady in orbit, failed on Saturday. The result was a shutdown of the main guidance system, and Mir has been flying without guidance ever since. The Russian station has a history of computer problems, but the computer installed in January has been working without major problems until this weekend. Mir has to be under control for the shuttle to dock with it. And the first question Thomas asked when he was allowed to talk to NASA... and the countdown in Florida remains on schedule. The Mir crew, including astronaut Thomas, worked over the weekend to successfully replace the failed computer with a new one, delivered by the shuttle earlier this year. John Holloman, CNN at the Kennedy Space Center.
The launch for the first component for the International Space Station has been set back 3 months to November. Russian money problems have been blamed for the delay. Representatives of all 16 countries involved have approved the new assembly schedule. NASA estimates 43 space flights will be needed to assemble the 1 million pound outpost. Under the new schedule, the station should be completed in early 2004. It's the fourth major revision to the $60 billion program since 1994. Sources tell CNN President Clinton almost certainly will not voluntarily submit to questioning by Whitewater Independent Counsel Ken Starr about Monica Lewinsky, although sources familiar with White House legal strategy insist no final decision has been made. Time magazine quotes sources saying the president will refuse to testify before the Lewinsky grand jury. Sources also tell CNN Mr. Clinton's legal team is inclined to oppose Starr's request for an expedited Supreme Court review of executive privilege claims. Police in Boulder, Colorado will present their evidence to prosecutors in the JonBenet Ramsey investigation this week. The 6-year-old girl was found strangled to death in the basement of her home 17 months ago. Police say they won't name a suspect in the case or discuss a motive. After hearing the evidence, the district attorney will decide whether to present the case to a grand jury. A published report is offering new details of the jury deliberations during the Oklahoma City bombing trial of Terry Nichols. The Rocky Mountain News says when the 12 jurors began deliberating, their first vote was 10-2 in favor of acquittal. The paper says that stunned the 2 men who voted for conviction. One says he argued so hard over the next 6 days he made other jurors cry. Nichols is scheduled to be sentenced Thursday. After 41 hours of deliberation, he was convicted of conspiracy and involuntary manslaughter. In South Asia, the question is no longer who has nuclear weapons, but who has the more powerful weapons program. The foreign minister of India claims Pakistan exploded 2 nuclear devices last week, not the 6th, as it announced. The man known as the father of the Pakistani nuclear bomb told Associated Press his country's nuclear and missile technology has surpassed India's. The world is condemning both countries for their nuclear testing, but India claims it was justified.
My government has said in Parliament that we are somewhat disappointed at the manner in which our legitimate security concerns have been taken note of. We have been pointing out over the years that there is a clandestine nuclear program going on. We are victims of continued aggression through sponsored terrorism across our borders. People in Jammu and Kashmir are suffering. The U.S. has taken some steps like declaring Harkatul Ansar unlawful and all that, but we find that a whole lot of information which is now coming out about the support that China was giving to Pakistan, which was available to U.S. government, it looks was not shared with us.
Defense Secretary William Cohen calls the behavior of India and Pakistan chauvinistic chest-pounding and says it poses serious dangers. Clinton administration officials say they are leading the international effort to keep the peace. Congressional Republicans are accusing the administration of massive policy failures for not anticipating the Indian tests or stopping the Pakistanis from following suit. Meanwhile, the Pakistani Prime Minister reportedly says his country is ready to talk with India about mutual restraint on the use of nuclear weapons. House Speaker Newt Gingrich is supporting a continued U.S. military and civilian presence in Bosnia-Herzegovina. Sunday, the Speaker visited several towns and U.S. forces stationed at Camp McGovern in northern Bosnia. The United States has 8,000 troops among the 34,000 members of the UN peacekeeping force. Gingrich stopped in Bosnia after wrapping up a visit to the Middle East. The destruction in Spencer, South Dakota is so widespread, residents say they don't know if they will rebuild. A tornado hit the small town Saturday, killing 6 people and leveling most of the homes. About 150 people were hurt. Governor Bill Janklow has activated units from the Army and Air National Guard to help with the cleanup, and he has asked the federal government for disaster assistance. Janklow says the storm knocked out electric power, so no warning sirens sounded.
People that were in their basements were killed and terribly injured. The town's gone. I mean, if a tornado is going to come in with that amount of fury and wrath, a warning system is irrelevant. I mean, obviously warning systems are important, but in this instance, it didn't make any difference.
The same storm system caused plenty of problems elsewhere. 3 people were killed in Michigan, including a power company crewman who touched a live wire. 600,000 homes and businesses were left without power. Utility companies say it could be Wednesday or later before electrical service is fully restored. 2 people died during bad weather in nearby Wisconsin. Search and rescue teams are at work in upstate New York after bad weather there. An apparent tornado cut through Mechanicville Sunday, destroying about 15 homes. Several injuries have been reported. 1 girl was hospitalized after being struck by lightning. A flood watch was posted for the eastern part of the state, as well as parts of Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Vermont. The extended weather forecast is next, and later, male bicyclers beware. There's new evidence your bike seat can constrict an important artery.
At the CNN Weather Center, I'm Byron Moran with the CNN Headline News Weather Update. The frontal system that brought the severe weather from the northern plains into the Midwest through the Ohio Valley and the Northeast will clear out by Monday afternoon. Let me put the map in motion and show you what I'm talking about. You see that frontal system just off the East Coast, headed towards the Atlantic, high pressure setting in, winds out of the northwest. By Monday afternoon, it should be beautiful for New England through the Ohio Valley. High pressure, dry weather, beautiful weather. In the high 90s for the southwest. Let's go 96, 97 for Las Vegas, 104 for Phoenix, 98 to Dallas, Texas, in the 90s through the southern plains, 90s through the Gulf Coast. Up north in the northeast in the 70s, and then let's switch gears and go over towards the northwest now. Are you still with me? I hope so. 65 for Seattle and Portland, 68 for San Francisco, and the extended forecast looks like this on Tuesday. A few thunderstorms in the forecast for New England through the Ohio Valley towards Montana. The heat continues through the southern section of the U.S., a bit milder through the northeast. Map in motion through Wednesday. There you go, same stuff, same heat in the south, and then rain showers pretty much across the northern section of the U.S., a zonal flow not affecting the southern section of the United States. That's a look at your CNN Headline News Weather.
The city of brotherly love is bracing for a possibly crippling transit strike. The Transport Workers Union in Philadelphia says its 5,200 members will go on strike at noon Eastern Monday unless they're offered a better contract. A walkout would effectively cripple the 5th largest U.S. mass transit system. More than 400,000 commuters depend on its trains, buses, and trolleys to get to and from work daily. Negotiators met for 45 minutes Sunday but made no progress. Excessive time on a bicycle seat may threaten a man's sex life and more. Elizabeth Cohen reports on research presented to the American Urological Association.
Look at how these men are leaning forwards in their seats. That's bad news according to one study, because all that leaning can cut off the blood supply to the penis.
When you sit on a bicycle seat, you rest your 170-pound torso directly on the artery.
That artery supplies blood to the penis, and Dr. Irwin Goldstein says that with frequent riding, the artery can become permanently compressed. No blood supply, no erection. In a study of 500 bike riders, Dr. Goldstein found that 4% complained that they were impotent, compared to just 1% of men in the study who did not ride bikes. The men who rode more than 10 hours a week were the most likely to be impotent. Plus, male and female bike riders were more likely to have difficulty achieving orgasm and difficulty urinating. Dr. Goldstein presented his study this weekend at a meeting of urologists, some of whom had already heard about the connection between bike riding and impotence. While a 4% impotence rate isn't terribly high, Dr. Goldstein says,
I do not ride a bike, Elizabeth. I respect my penile erection health.
and he says other men should follow suit.
It absolutely makes no sense to take an organ of the human body and compress the arterial blood flow to it for any period of time. There is no logical way you could tell me that that's a good thing to do.
Fred Clements works for the bicycle industry. He says he's never had a problem.
Based on the people I deal with who are bike shops around the country, it seems very rare if it happens at all.
So should recreational bike riders worry?
Certainly, people need to realize that if they're jumping on their exercise bike to do, their 30 minutes a day is not generally going to cause this degree of damage. The people that were riding bikes in this particular study were long-distance bike riding enthusiasts.
Dr. Goldstein says the solution is to change the way all bike seats are designed so that riders lean backwards on their rear ends instead of forwards on that all-important artery. Elizabeth Cohen, CNN, Atlanta.
Our top stories are next, followed by consumer news. And still ahead, the city that never sleeps is celebrating 100 wide-awake years.
This is the CNN Headline News Network.
In 1965, Janet Sainer set out to destroy a myth that at the age of 60, your productive years were over. Retirement once meant that, but Sainer saw the contributions older Americans could make. The Retired Senior Volunteer Program gave them a chance and changed our views of senior citizens. Today, you can find our RSVP volunteers in schools, museums, and hospitals. They're making our region a better place to live. I'm Noel Harden.
Copeland Ford is proud to sponsor the Spirit of Leadership. Copeland Ford.
Great day for a picnic.
Yeah, here's the salad.
A key ingredient for a healthy lifestyle is a regular program of proper diet and exercise. Studies by the Women's Sports Foundation confirm that women who are active in sports as girls feel greater self-confidence and are more likely to remain physically fit. The National Institute of Health states that calcium is essential to developing and maintaining strong bones. Dairy products, such as cheese, are an excellent source and offer great taste. For girls, preteen and early teen years are the best time to stock up on calcium and to develop a program of weight-bearing exercise. And women can feel secure they are reducing the risk of osteoporosis in later life.
Ready? Mom, wait up!
At day's end, a feeling of satisfaction. For more ideas about calcium, call 1-800-CHEESES.
In today's dynamic business environment, ensuring your success means making the right professional moves. Here are some tips.
Skills are very important because the better the skills, the better the chance of finding another job.
What about networking?
It's very important, probably the most important thing, with everybody you know, who knows you, because they know in the community where jobs are going to open up.
Is it important to try new things?
But trying new things is important because you want to differentiate yourself from others who are also looking for a job.
Should I be flexible?
Flexibility is very important because you must be flexible to adapt to the employer needs as you see it and as they've told you. Think of your skills, the background and experience. Sell that flexibility. The most important thing is attitude. Understand how good you are because you must sell yourself. This will be the most important sale you've ever made.
A message from the Society for Human Resource Management.
Checking our top stories, more problems aboard Mir could delay Shuttle Discovery's scheduled docking with the Russian space station. The shuttle is supposed to launch Tuesday to pick up American astronaut Andy Thomas, but cosmonauts have not been able to load some necessary software onto a new computer. The Rocky Mountain News reports most jurors in the Terry Nichols trial originally favored acquittal. Nichols will be sentenced Thursday for his conspiracy and involuntary manslaughter convictions. And cleanup has begun in Spencer, South Dakota. 6 people were killed when a tornado hit the town Saturday night, leveling most homes. About 150 people were hurt. These stories and more in 15 minutes. If you think only young people can benefit from the Roth IRA, think again. Alan Dodds-Frank reports it can be useful for older Americans, too.
For those at or near retirement, Roth IRAs offer advantages when it comes to passing on wealth to future generations. Unlike traditional IRAs, which require mandatory withdrawals starting at age 70 1/2, Roth IRA withdrawals are optional. So retirees who do not need the money can allow their IRA nest eggs to keep growing, and they can use earned income to keep making contributions indefinitely.
This maximizes tax deferral for the children or other heirs, grandchildren. Doesn't have to be children. It could be grandchildren or neighbors, cousins, nieces, whatever.
People with traditional IRAs have to make decisions about distributions that can limit options after death. Money usually passes easily to spouses, but it is not uncommon for children upon a parent's death to be forced to inherit the full sum and its tax liability within 1 year. With a Roth IRA, there are no income taxes, and beneficiaries have the choice of withdrawing the money over their lifetimes as long as they act quickly.
If you don't make a certain election by December 31st following the year of death of the Roth IRA owner, all the money has to be tumbling out to the beneficiary within 5 years from time of death, which would defeat the beauty of the Roth with respect to an estate plan.
People now approaching retirement, though, cannot get this advantage without rolling over money from their traditional IRAs into a Roth IRA. And this is a complicated decision. There are income limits on Roth IRAs, and there can be significant upfront tax liabilities. Consult your tax advisor to determine whether a Roth IRA makes sense in your estate planning. That's Your Money. Alan Dodds-Frank, CNN Financial News, New York.
Sports is next.
This is CNN Headline News.
When Ann came to work all bruised and said she'd tripped and fallen into the dining room table?
Yes, I didn't really believe her explanation about the bruises, but I didn't say anything because I knew she'd be embarrassed. It never seemed like any of my business.
I know what you mean. Her husband seemed like a decent guy, and I figured if Ann needed help, she would ask for it. Besides, it's hard to know what to say.
Yes, but I wish I would have said something.
In America, you are not required to offer food to the hungry or shelter to the homeless. There is no ordinance forcing you to visit the lonely. In fact, nowhere in the Constitution does it say you have to provide anything for anybody. Thank you for all you've given. Imagine what more could do.
Would you risk flying in an aircraft without any landing gear? Drive through the mountains without brakes? Throw yourself in front of running bulls? Race in a two-person sidecar without a helmet? Of course not. Then why risk living without yearly cancer screenings? To find out about cervical and breast cancer screenings, talk to your doctor. Women over 50 may qualify for screenings at little or no cost through Women's Health Check. Call 800-926-2588.
We're all one. One world, one hotel, uniquely intercontinental.
Hey, hockey fans, what 3 NHL Western Conference teams have never retired a uniform number? Stick around, the answer's coming up right after sports.
CNN Headline Sports. Sunday Hoops and the NBA playoffs. For the 6th time in 8 years, the Chicago Bulls have reached the NBA Finals. Michael Jordan scored 28 points as the Bulls held off the Pacers 88-83 to win the 7th and deciding game of the Eastern Conference Finals. Chicago now advances to face Utah for the NBA title.
I felt we had a good enough team to defeat them. Coming in today, I felt satisfied with the way we played in Game 6. I knew we was going to be right there at the end. It's just if we could make the plays. And Chicago's the one that made the plays.
Sunday ice and the NHL playoffs. The Red Wings skated past the Stars 3-2. Detroit takes a commanding 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals. For the latest from the NHL and NBA playoffs, check out cnnsi.com. In tennis, American Venus Williams was an easy fourth-round winner Sunday at the French Open. Williams will face top seed Martina Hingis in the quarterfinals. Other winners Sunday included Monica Seles and Lindsay Davenport. Winners on the men's side included third seed Marcelo Rios. Sunday Diamonds, Bernard Gilkey drove in the go-ahead run in the 8th inning as the Mets beat the Phillies 8-6. The Mets have won 9 straight games, their longest winning streak in 8 years. The Red Sox scored 11 runs in the 3rd inning on way to beating the Yankees 13-7. The 11-run outburst was the biggest inning allowed by the Yankees in 55 years. Seattle blasted a season-high 6 home runs, including number 19 by Ken Griffey Jr., as the Mariners outscored the Devil Rays 11-6. Juan Gonzalez cracked 2 homers, including a grand slam, as the Rangers knocked off the Orioles 9-5. For all the scores, keep an eye on the Headline News Sports Ticker. Sunday driving, Dale Jarrett took the checkered flag in NASCAR's Platinum 400. Jeff Gordon, who led most of the way, had to settle for 3rd place after taking on some gas late in the race. Sunday links, Fred Couples birdied 3 of the final 9 holes to win the Memorial by 4 strokes. Couples finished at 17 under par. Severe weather cut short the final round of the LPGA's Rochester International. They'll finish up Monday with Rosie Jones on top by 2 strokes. Mike Salmon, CNN, Headline Sports.
The 3 NHL Western Conference teams that have never retired a uniform number are the Colorado Avalanche, San Jose Sharks, and the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim.
Education Counts focus on youth.
I like to see the animals, like the aquarium places, and then also at some port cities, I like to see the animals just swimming around.
Nick Grove is an active student who loves the outdoors, from visiting the Oregon coast to playing youth soccer with friends. Nick also participates in the NOVA program, Knowledge Bowl, Geography Bees, and math competitions. His perfect school attendance record since kindergarten reflects his love of the learning process.
I like to learn how to do math, and I like to also learn history, about different things in history, like the time periods and what happened in history.
One name sticks out on the Time magazine list of the 20 most influential artists and entertainers of the century. Bart Simpson, the cartoon star, like the other entertainers on the list, were chosen by political analysts, academics, journalists, and assorted pop culture gurus. Bart is in very good company. Among the other people selected, artist Pablo Picasso, singer Frank Sinatra, writer James Joyce, and comedian Lucille Ball. Director Steven Spielberg, trumpet virtuoso Louis Armstrong, and Oprah Winfrey are also listed as important cultural influences. The Big Apple is celebrating a special birthday this year. Phil Hirschhorn has a look back at its colorful history.
1998 marks the 100th year of existence of modern New York, the moment when its 5 famous boroughs, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and Staten Island, consolidated as one city.
Right after the Civil War, it became obvious that there needed to be a consolidation of the communities surrounding the harbor of New York. The harbor then still was the critical economic engine that drove the city.
While voters in all 5 boroughs approved consolidation in a referendum, some residents, especially Brooklynites, feared losing their local identity, but practical reasoning prevailed.
Brooklyn only had wells and some water off of Long Island. So it was desperate for Brooklyn to unite with Manhattan to have access to the water system, which it does today.
In the past 100 years, a lot has changed in New York City, but much is still the same. New York is still the nation's most populous city, as well as its cultural and financial capital. New York is still also a city of immigrants, but the face of that immigration is different from a century ago.
In the 1890s, the immigration wave swept Italians, Irish, and East European Jews to the city. But in the 1990s, it's immigrants from Asia who dominate, arriving by the thousands from countries as diverse as Korea and Pakistan. 40% of the city's residents are from another country.
In the end, what makes New York tick is money. Everybody is out to make it. And if you can make a better deal with me, if you can give me a better product, then in the end, I really don't care what your race is. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what country you came from. Let's do business.
New York's commercial life has been sustained by a steady building boom. At the beginning of the century, the city's Woolworth building was the world's tallest at 793 feet. Now it's a junior member of the skyline. 100 years ago, the Brooklyn Bridge was the only above-water connection to Manhattan. Now a web of bridges, including the George Washington, the Triborough, and the Verrazano, crown a massive road-building program. Underground, the subway, opened in 1904, shuttles millions of people from home to work and back again. Now, with the clock running out on this century, the city stands as a monument to the challenges of consolidating, not only geographically, but economically and culturally as well. Phil Hirschkorn, CNN, New York.
Former Baywatch star Pamela Anderson Lee has a new TV show. VIP is about a hot dog vendor who accidentally becomes considered a top celebrity bodyguard. Lee says about her character, "Everyone insists on hiring me, but I have no idea what I'm doing." Coming up in 2 minutes, we'll update that destructive wave of storms that swept across the United States. I'm Angela Astore. This is CNN Headline News.